Everyday collocations, listen to finance. Let's talk money. This video series, of course, comes in two parts. The first part, we're going to learn about income and saving, spending and debt. And on part two, we're going to touch on and navigate through financial advice and economic trends.
Don't you know how we got Deborah Stackeressi? Oh yeah, this is English grammar fluency.
Let's get started with part one. This part has 6 sentences and up to 19 expressions. I've got some colloquial and idiomatic nuggets here for you. Let's get started. People often struggle with earning a decent living or generating passive income. Struggle with doing something. What does it mean? Well, struggle means have a difficult time doing something. For example, if someone struggles with grammar, they know grammar, they can put words together, but it is not good enough, and they make grammatical errors and mistakes here and there. They can speak, but they struggle with it. Or if someone struggles with fluency, they have a lot of in their speaking, and they are not fluent. They can speak English, they may make correct sentences, but it's just frustrating to wait for them to finish a simple sentence because they are struggling with fluency. Or you could say this athlete struggles with this move. It means he can do it, but it's not good enough. Now, some people struggle with finance. It means they make money, but they have financial problems. They have debts here and there, or some expenses that they cannot meet here, and they make money, they have money, but they struggle with it. It is difficult for them to manage and find their way around it. So, people often struggle with earning a decent income, a decent living. Well, living, when we are talking about money, living doesn't mean being alive. They ask, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? It doesn't mean what is it that you do to stay alive. And you shouldn't say, I drink water and eat food every day for a living. No, bro, living here means money. What do you do for a living means what is it that you do to earn money. I could say, well, I teach English for a living. My brother could say, well, I code and do programming for a living. And a friend of mine could say, well, I drive for a living. What is it that you do for a living? Go ahead and leave us a comment. Now, people struggle with earning a decent living. Earning living means earning money. Now, decent living. Decent is a very common and very handy adjective that you can use. It means it is good, it's nice, but it is not the best. For example, you could say Nissan is a good car, it's a decent car. You mean it's a good enough with high standards car, but it is not the best. It's a decent car. It's really good, but it is not the best. If something is decent, it's good, it's really good, but it is not the best, or it is not perfect. It's decent. For example, you could say, they live in a decent house. It means they live in a very good house with enough space and a good neighborhood. It's a decent neighborhood. It's a decent house. It means it's a good one, but it is not the best one. But it's kind of rough around the edges. It has some problems to be fixed. It is not the best, but it's really good. It's decent. If you earn a decent living, you make enough money to travel. You make enough money to buy a car. You make enough money to get by with the expenses that crop up here and there. You make enough money to handle all of them. You are not a billionaire who can buy mansions and build skyscrapers, but you have a decent income. You can have a good life. Everybody should think and try to find a way to earn a decent living or generate passive income. Generate passive income. First of all, generate means make. Generate income, make income. Potato, potato. Now, generate is a better collocation. It just sounds better and it's more appropriate. You can say someone is making a living, making income. What do you do to make income? It's totally fine, it's everyday language, but generate income is just more formal and more appropriate for this context if you want to sound professional. Now, generate passive income. Passive income. What's a passive income? Well, if you work for money and you spend time and they give you money, that is not a passive income. If you have a business and it is operating on its own, it is working on its own, you just go for a travel or at night you're sleeping and it is making money, that money is passive income. Passive means not doing anything. You are not doing anything and it is generating income. Now, we have passive and active. Active means you are doing something, you are active. Passive means you are not doing anything. If you have passive income, you are not working, but a business or an investment is making you money. People often struggle with earning a decent living or generating passive income. What's next? Building up a nest egg or an emergency fund is essential for financial security. Building up a nest egg or an emergency fund is essential for financial security. A nest egg. First off, what's the meaning of nest? What does nest mean? That is a nest. It's a place that birds make and they live there. It's birds' house, roughly speaking. Now, a nest egg is the idiom. It means the amount of money that you are saving. You are building up a nest egg. It means you are saving money somewhere for rainy days. For rainy days means for difficult days, for days that are financially rough and tough. So what you need is a nest egg to build up over time so in rainy days you can use it and save yourself. Building up, that's the collocation for that idiom. Building up a nest egg or an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a nest egg. Fund means an amount of money for doing something. An emergency fund is an amount of money for emergency. Fund is also a verb. If you fund something, you give it the money it needs. For example, we are building this building and I am funding it. It means I am giving it the amount of money it needs. Or the government is funding it. It means they are providing the money it needs. An emergency fund is an amount of money that is for emergency days, for rainy days. Or you could say it's a nest egg. Now, what about it? It is essential for financial security. Security means being safe. If you want to be financially, finance-wise safe, you have to build up a nest egg or put aside some emergency funds. Financial security. You could say somebody is financially secure. Are you financially secure? What do you do to be financially secure? Well, I build up a nest egg, or I am putting aside some emergency fund for rainy days. Building up a nest egg or an emergency fund is essential for financial security. Essential, really important, very important. Next up, putting money aside in a savings account or investing in stocks can help money grow. Putting money aside in a savings account. Savings account. You know, two synonymous expressions for this. One of them was nest egg, and the other one, emergency fund. So an emergency fund a nest egg or a savings account, they mean the same thing. Investing in stocks can help money grow. Stock alone has a lot of meanings, and also it has three parts of a speech. It's a noun, it's a verb, and it's an adjective, and they have different meanings. If you don't know noun, adverbs, adjectives, and verbs, this video was about that, and we learned 4 parts of a speech here. Now, stocks here has this meaning. Imagine I have a company. I want to make my company bigger, but I need money for that. I go to the stock market and sell shares. I say, okay, this company that I have, I divide it into 100 pieces, 100 shares. I say, I sell each share like 1 million. If you pay me 1 million, you have 1/15 or 1% of my company. That's a share that you just bought. So I get the money, and with those shares that I sell, I make my company bigger. You buy shares or you buy stocks. You invest in stocks. Also invest in something. It means you put money, you give it money, you fund it for it to make you some money in the future. You invest. The first thing you should invest in is yourself. How? With learning. And that's what you're doing here. Be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. Invest in yourself with learning. Financially speaking, you invest in stocks or you invest in a business. You make some money, you invest it, it generates passive income, and with that passive income, you go and have a living, putting money aside in a savings account or investing in stocks. Invest in something. Investing in stocks or shares of a company or a business or whatever, investing in stocks can help money grow, can help money accumulate, become bigger and bigger and more. Let's move on. Overspending or living beyond your means can lead to financial struggles, if not disasters. Overspending or living beyond your means. Overspending. Over is a prefix. We have a prefix, words that stick to the beginning of other words, and suffixes, words that stick to the end of other words. Now, over here is a prefix. It has been attached to spending. If you add over to a verb, you mean doing it too much. Overspending means spending too much. Overdo means do something too much. Overreact, it means you react too emotionally. Be careful, they overcharge. Overcharge. If you charge someone money, it means you take from them some money for a service. For example, they charge you $2 for each cup of coffee. $2 for each cup of coffee. They charge you $2. It means they take from you $2. Now, if a business or if a company or if a seller overcharges, they take too much money. I teach English $50 an hour. If I take $100 an hour, I am overcharging. I am taking money beyond my standard fees. So, overcharge, overspend, overreact, overdo something. That means going beyond the limits. These are the limits, beyond limits. Now, overspending or living beyond your means. What does means mean? Means is a method or system that you have for doing something. That's the other meaning. Here, it means the amount of money or the amount of something that you have. By all means with everything you have. For example, Try by all means. It means try with everything that you have. Overspending or living beyond your means. It means spending too much money beyond what you have. What will happen? If you do it, it can lead to, it can cause, it can make financial struggles. We had struggle with something. Now, here we have financial struggles. Financial struggles means financial difficulties. It can lead to, it can cause financial difficulties or financial struggles. If not disasters, if not financial disasters. Now, a disaster is a very bad thing that happens and ruins and destroys everything. A flood, a storm, or an earthquake that destroys everything, it's a disaster. Now, a financial disaster is just not anymore a struggle. It is the worst case scenario. People might lose their house, lose their cars, or just go to prison or go beyond the bars. And terrible things can happen because it is a financial disaster. We have a financial disaster. Someone might lose everything they have. We have financial struggle. They have stuff, but it is really difficult to manage. They have difficulties. They cannot have everything they want. And we have financial security. Everything is fine and rainbows. Overspending or living beyond your means can lead to financial struggles, if not disasters. Using credit cards responsibly and managing debt wisely is important for financial stability. We have credit cards and debit cards. They are not the same. If you go and buy something, credit card, it means you are not spending from the amount of money you have in the bank. That amount is there, but the bank is recording your purchases, the stuff you buy, and will reduce it when you pay. The bank says, here is a credit card, go and buy stuff and pay me later. This is a credit card. Now, when you're using a credit card, you should do it responsibly. You shouldn't just buy everything, because if you buy everything, you go under debt and the bank will come after you. A debit card is different. A debit card is directly connected to the amount of money you have in the bank. Let's say you have 100 grand, $100,000, and you buy something for 50 grand, for $50,000. Now, with the debit card, the amount of money is directly reduced from the amount of money you have in the bank. So now you have only 50 grand. So don't forget, we have credit card and we have debit cards. Which one do you use most of the times? Do you ever use credit cards? To use something responsibly. Using credit cards responsibly and managing debt. What is debt? We have lend money and borrow money. Imagine you need some money to buy something and it is urgent. It's an emergency, you need some money. You go and borrow money from your friend or from a family member or from bank. So you borrow money to pay it later. You borrow money, they lend you money. So let's say my brother is buying a laptop and the laptop is $1,200. So $1,200. My brother has 1 grand. He has $1,000, but he is shy of $200. I lend him $200. He borrows $200 from me. So the amount of money that he borrows from me is his debt. He is in debt for $200. My brother is in debt. If you are in debt, pay attention, we have be here, but we don't pronounce it. To be in debt. If you are in debt, you should manage debt wisely. Using credit cards responsibly and managing debt wisely is important for financial stability. Stability is the noun for stable. Stable is adjective and stability is a noun. Let's move on. And finally, making ends meet or budgeting effectively can help people stay afloat financially. Making ends meet is the idiom. It means to have enough money to buy just the things you need. If you make enough money to just buy the things you need, you can make ends meet. You can buy the things you need until you get your next income. Now, somebody can't make ends meet. They go to their boss and say, "Boss, I can't make ends meet." It means I cannot buy the things I need, let alone investing or trying to set up a business. I cannot buy things that I need. I can't make ends meet. And the boss says, "No problem, I'm giving you a rise. I'm giving you a rise. I'm gonna add to your total income." Making ends meet or budgeting effectively. Budget. What's a budget? Budget is the amount of money that you have put aside for a specific purpose for something. For example, you do something on budget. You do something on budget means you do it with a specific amount of money. For example, you say, "We're going to travel. We only have $3,000. We only have $3,000 for our 2 weeks long travel." You are traveling on a budget. What's the budget? It is $200,000. Now, that $200,000 is the budget, and you are doing something on budget. It means you cannot spend more than that. We're doing it on budget. Do you go shopping on a budget? It means do you go shopping with a specific amount of money and you don't spend more than that? You want to buy a denim coat, let's say, and it is $200. So $200 is maybe reasonable for a denim coat. You say, okay, you don't know the price. Okay, you say, okay, I can spend $200 on a denim coat. Now, that's my budget. If it is more expensive, I cannot buy it. I wouldn't buy it. It is too expensive. I am buying on a budget. I am shopping on a budget. What's the budget? $200. Now, you should budget effectively. You shouldn't put too much money for something. You shouldn't put too little money. You should budget it effectively. Budgeting effectively. It can help people stay afloat financially. Stay afloat. Imagine we have this marker, okay? We threw it in the water and it stays on the water. It is floating on the water. It is not somewhere dry, but it is not underwater either. So it is floating on the water. It is afloat. It is standing. It is staying afloat. Stay afloat financially. If you are financially afloat, or if you manage to stay financially afloat, you are not in debt and you are just fine. You are financially stable, not under debt, and not making a killing. Make a killing, it means to make a lot of money. Congratulations, you came so far and you finished part 1, which was about earning and saving, spending, and debt. Part 2 is about financial advice and economic trends. Go ahead, tune into part 2, but first answer these 2 questions. You can write about them or talk about them to a friend, to yourself, or to a mug. What does financial literacy matter? What does it matter? Why is it important to be literate when it comes to finance and to know how to find your way around it? How to make money, how to save money, how to spend, and how to manage debt. That's financial literacy. Speak about your financial plans.
Don't you know how we got deborah's accuracy? Oh yeah, this is English grammar fluency.